The complete works of Swami Vivekananda, Lectures and Discourses, Unity, the Goal of Religions, Part 2. Religion does not live on bread, does not dwell in a house. Again and again you hear this objection advanced. What good can religion do? Can it take away the poverty of the poor? Supposing it cannot, would you prove the untruth of religion? Suppose a baby stands up and among you, when you are trying to demonstrate the astronomical theorem and says, does it bring gingerbread? No, it does not, you answer. Then says the baby, it is useless. Babies judge the whole universe from their standpoint, that of producing gingerbread. And so do the babies of the world. We must not judge of our higher things from a low standpoint. Everything must be judged by its own standard, and the infinity must be judged by the standard of infinity. Religion permeates the whole of man's life, not only the present, but the past and the future. It is therefore the eternal relation between the eternal soul and the eternal God. Is it logical to measure its value by its action upon 5 minutes of human life? Certainly not. These are all negative arguments. Now comes the question, can religion really accomplish anything? It can. It brings to man eternal life. It has made man what he is and will make of his human animal a god. That is what religion can do. Take religion from human society and what will remain? Nothing but a forest of brutes. Sense happiness is not the goal of humanity. Wisdom, jnana, is the goal of all human life. We find that man enjoys his intellect more than the animal enjoys his senses. And we see that man enjoys his spiritual nature even more than his rational nature. So the highest wisdom must come from this spiritual wisdom. With this knowledge will come bliss. All these things of this world are but the shadows, the manifestation in the third or fourth degree of the real knowledge of bliss. One question more. What is the goal? Nowadays it is asserted that man is infinitely progressing forward and forward, and there is no goal of perfection to attain to. Ever approaching, never attaining, whatever that it may mean, and however wonderful it may be, it is absurd on the face of it. Is there any notion in a straight line? A straight line infinitely projected becomes a circle. It returns to the starting point. You must end where you begin. And you began in God, you must go back to God. What remains? Detailed work. Through eternity you have to do the detailed work. Yet another question. Are we to discover new truths of religion as we go on? Yes and no. In the first place, we cannot know anything more of religion. It has all been known. In all religions of the world, you will find it is claimed that there is a unity within us. Being one with divinity, there cannot be any further progress in that sense. Knowledge means finding this unity. I see you as men and women, and this is variety. I see you as it becomes scientific knowledge when I group you together and call you human beings. Take the science of chemistry for instance. Chemists are seeking to resolve all known substances into their original elements, and if possible to find the one element from which all these are derived. The time may come when they find that one element that is the source of all other elements, Reaching that, can go no further. The science of chemistry will then have become perfect. So it is with the science of religion. If we can discover this perfect unity, there cannot be any further progress. The next question is, can such a unity ever be found? In India, the attempt has been made from the earliest times to reach a science of religion and philosophy. For the Hindus, do not separate these as is customary in the Western countries. We regard religion and philosophy as but two aspects of one thing which must be equally grounded in reason and scientific truth. The system of the Sankhya philosophy is one of the most ancient in India, or in fact in the world. Its great exponent Kapila is the father of all Hindu psychology, and the ancient system that he taught is still the foundation of all accepted systems of philosophy in India today, which are known as the Darshanas. They all adopt his psychology, however widely they may differ in other respects. The Vedanta, as the logical outcome of the Sankhya, pushes its conclusions even further. While its cosmology agrees with that taught by Kapila, the Vedanta is not satisfied to end in dualism. It continues its search for the final unity, which is alike the goal of science and religion.